And speaking of the Detroit Tigers, it is now time to bring in our guest, former teammate of mine, Spencer Turnbull. Turnbull, what is up, my man? How are you?
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm great. First off, thanks for joining me. And I got to ask you before we really get into it. I know you recently underwent Tommy John surgery, so how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. Like 3.5 weeks ago, so getting my range of motion back, but I got to stay in this brace for a while.
That stays
it's
on all
going
the
well
time?
so far.
Is that that's a 24/7 thing?
I take it off some, but it's supposed to stay on for like the first 6 weeks or so. But I take it off for like PT and move it around and stuff. But I wear it a lot.
All right. So normally, right off the top, we get into some trivia questions. So you got 60 seconds. We got a leaderboard. Fulmer's up there.
Okay.
John Means is up there. Reese Hoskins is up there close. So let's hit you with some trivia and see how you do. You ready? I feel like you're not gonna be great at this. We'll see.
I feel like I'm probably not gonna be great at this. I'm probably a little bit, but
all right, let's do it. Ready? Who was your first MLB strikeout?
Jan Gomes.
Who was your first MLB batter faced?
Jan Gomes, I think.
Who was your first MLB home run allowed to?
Oh shoot, who did I give it home to? Oh man, I can't remember. Who was it?
Jesus Aguilar. Who was your first MLB win against?
First win was against the Red Sox.
Number of pitches thrown in your first MLB start?
70.
81. Jersey number for your MLB debut?
56.
Who relieved you in your first start?
Would have been somebody pretty quick. I'm trying to remember.
All right.
Was it Willie?
That's it. No, it was Buck. It was Buck.
Buck? Okay.
Yep. Not bad. Better than I thought. You didn't, you just blocked out who hits homers against you, which is, smart.
I try not to remember those. Pretend like they don't happen.
All right. So I was thinking about this on the way into studio this morning. We were teammates in probably the most difficult year of my minor league journey when we were playing on that field, Henley Field, down in the Florida State League.
In Lakeland.
Yes, in Lakeland. Man. So
that's tough.
Spencer and I were teammates for, I don't know, I feel like three years. We got drafted together and moved up the system for a while together. And our first, and once in Lakeland, our stadium wasn't ready. So we had to bus over every day to this stadium. And it was just it was a fiasco, for lack of a better term. I don't know about you, but I felt like that year, like it didn't feel like we were professional athletes, right?
I was rehabbing for like half of that summer, and then I came back, and I just remember we were in like the backup spring training locker room over by the dorms, and we rode like a short bus over to the field. Remember that bus we rode? I can't even. Oh, that was a nightmare. That was what it was, but
it was 25 guys, right? I guess 25 guys all packed into a tiny short bus, and we're all larger individuals, and we're just all packed onto a short bus heading like 2 miles down the road to play at this field. And
it was like a 5-minute bus ride. I don't even know.
All right,
could have walked there probably faster.
Probably. So I always ask people this question, and because the minor league level is the highest I experience, and I know baseball is very unique in that everybody experiences that. What is a story from your minor league career, a story or something you just take with you that you'll remember forever, something that you always hold on to? It can also be funny.
Is it one that like? Yeah. Okay. Right after I got called up to AAA, I almost got arrested.
Okay.
So that's probably the story I keep with me. I got called up from AA to AAA towards the end of 2018. It was in like
Okay.
late August. I had made 2 starts at home. First one was like went really well, and the second one was kind of to get us into the playoffs, and then the third one was in the playoffs against Durham. And so they flew me out the night before, so I didn't have to ride the bus all night. And I get to Durham, don't have anything to do, wanted to watch the game because it was a playoff game.
Oh my god, I know this story. This is the
And
best story ever.
yeah, so I asked the hotel guy like, "Hey, where can I get a bite to eat and watch the Durham Bulls play?" Because we were playing the Durham Bulls. We were with Toledo, um, and he told me you can go to like the left field lounge out at the stadium. I was like, "Sweet!" So I went to the Durham Bulls stadium. There's like a bar, lounge, restaurant out there. So I eat dinner, watch the game. We lose. After the game, I'm just like, put my headphones in. I just walk out on the patio of the restaurant, and you can literally walk from the restaurant like out onto like the concourse around the outfield or whatever. So I'm just like walking around the outfield, and I don't know, I had some music in my ears, just thinking, praying, real excited about the game the next day because first AAA playoff start I ever had. And I don't know, I just had this really strong urge to jump the fence and go stand on the mound and do some visualization, do some dry throws, pretend like I was out there. And I was like out in center field at the time. I was like, it's probably not a good idea. I might jump and twist my ankles. Stupid. So I'm walking back to the restaurant, and then I noticed you can kind of walk down like the foul line, and there's just like a little fence. It's like knee high. I'm like, oh, I can just step over that. So at that point, I was like, the temptation was too strong. I just stepped over it and walked out onto the field, and went out onto the mound, and did some prayer circles, did some victory visualizations, and thought I was good, and walked off. Went out in the street and was ready to go exploring. It was like only like 10:30, 11 o'clock at this point, and I was still not ready to go to sleep yet. And just walking around Durham, and these 2 security guards walk up to me out of nowhere and like, "Hey, can we talk to you for a second?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure. What's up?" "Yeah, we want to talk about the incident that just happened in the stadium." I was like, "What are you talking about?" Like, "Sir, we have you on camera breaking into the stadium, out on the mound. The police are on the way." I'm like, "Oh dear God, you got to be kidding me!" Because I thought I was fine. And then the police show up and question me like, "What are you doing? Like, why are you breaking this?" I was like, "Bro, I'm chill. I'm pitching tomorrow night. I just wanted to walk out there and just feel the slope of the mound, whatever." And they didn't believe me. And I was like, "Look, you can literally Google me. I promise you I'm pitching tomorrow night." And so one of the officers goes back to the car, picks up his phone, like you can see him like looking for stuff. Takes a little bit, and walks back. He's got his phone like this, and he's just like looking at it and like looking at my face. He's like looking at it, looking at my face. And he like does like this to the other police officer, like holds it in his face. He does the same thing, and they're like, "Damn sure is the guy pitching tomorrow night." And they're like, "All right, I guess we'll let you go." I was like, "Okay, do I need to like call my coaches? Like, is everybody like, am I in trouble?" Like, "No, we're not gonna tell anybody. If you don't." I'm like, "Well, I ain't telling nobody." So I thought I was good. Thought I got away with it. Go back to the hotel, go to sleep. Next day, nothing happens. Pitching the game the next night, and the other team has like, they're just really like, I don't know, aggressive towards me from the dugout. I'm like, what's going on? And I hit a guy in the foot with a curveball in the first inning, and they like the whole team like almost jumped out of the dugout, like about to fight. And I was like, what the heck? Like that was a curveball, but obviously not intentional. They were like really pissed at me for some reason. I was like so confused. And then after, like, I pitched pretty well. I think I gave up a couple. We ended up losing. I think I gave up 3. So it wasn't terrible, but definitely not as dominant as like my first 2 starts. And then my catcher, Kate Vick, comes up to me after the game. He's like, "What were you thinking last night?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "You know exactly what I'm talking about." I was like, "Wait, what? You know?" He's like, "Dude, our whole team knows. Their whole team knows. Their media knows. Because apparently, like the security guard ladies had to call the GM the night before and let them know something happened. And so he called their coaches call our coaches. So everybody knew. So they're riding home on the bus ride. All of them knew. And there's like a picture of me like standing on the mound with like my hands raised, like they look like doing like the Rocky celebration, and just completely embarrassing. But that's me. So their whole team knew because they were pissed, and so they had like pictures printed out of me like with my hands raised, stand on their mound, like who's this guy think he's coming to our mound thinking that he's going to win tomorrow. And so they had it, posted all over their locker room, and the announcer guys apparently, like, when I walked out onto the mound the first time, the radio announcers knew too. So they played theme song from Bad Boys when I walked out. And they're like, bad boys, what you gonna do when they come for you? You know, that song. So they knew it. And then the little mascot who like Bull Durham mascot who rides around in a go
Yeah.
kart or whatever for the game, he stopped at home plate, got out and like raised his arms at me right as I was doing my warm up pitches.
He
And
did the
kept
Rocky.
going.
He did the Rocky celebration
Yeah,
back at you.
I didn't see that. And then also the radio announcers also said like, now stepping onto the mound for the first time legally is Spencer Turnbull. I was like, I had no idea any of this happened. Or, like my whole team was so mad at me. They thought I was drunk because like obviously I was at that bar eating and stuff, and I really was. I didn't have a sip because I rarely would even have like a sip the night before I pitch. I drink sometimes other times, but not the night before I'm about to pitch a game. So I was stone cold sober, and so they were really like, "What the heck are you thinking?" They're so mad at me, thinking I was just being an idiot, breaking the I was like, "Dude, I was nervous trying to get ready for the game the next day," and they're like, all right, like you're an idiot. We think you're crazy, but I kind of respect it at the same time.
We also all knew that. Like it's so on brand for you. Like, of course you were out on the mound doing the Rocky celebration with nobody looking around, pumping your fists, running. I guarantee you were doing some dry motions, throwing some pitches out there on the mound.
Oh, for sure.
It's just on brand, and it's great, and it all worked out just fine.
Yeah, well, the other thing is like we lost that game. We lost the series, so I get called up to the big leagues like 2 days later. So it was, it worked out.
Yeah, you had the last laugh. So before we get to you becoming a major leaguer, I've always wondered this, and I know being with you for a while in the minors, I saw you dominate. I saw you being as as good as you've ever been, and I've saw struggles where it's seeming you lost your velocity, you had no movement on pitches, and I know how mental the game is. Personally, we've had a million conversations about it in the outfield during BP. The game mentally could eat me alive, and I know it's such a mental game. What would you go through when you would struggle to kind of bring it back? Like how did you bring it back? Because I've seen you down around 90, and I've seen you up in the around 98, and all within a short period of time. Like, what is it? How did you bring it back?
I think that's a good question. I think a lot goes into that. I think some days it could have been mental. Some days, could have been physical. Maybe my knee was bothering me, or like my mechanics got out of sync, or had no idea what was going on. So some days it was like a physical thing. Some days it was didn't have my head right, loss of confidence, whatever. Like I said, some days you just don't feel good, and then some days everything feels great, and you have no idea why. And like some days you have to like think about, all right. And that was the other thing too. Like my mechanics weren't as ironed out at that point, so I think some days like I just kind of lucked into being really aware of my body, and everything was synced up really well. And then other days I didn't feel as good, and so I'd start falling into bad habits and like start like flying open really bad or whatever it was. Didn't stay loaded, and like I said, just a little tweak here and there can make dramatic impacts on stuff or velocity or your power. And you remember as a hitter, if your swing gets completely disconnected, like some days you'll be right on a ball and it doesn't go anywhere, and then other days you feel like not even swinging hard and it's 40 feet over the fence on the kind of like the same swing. A lot of that's body stuff, but again, so much of it is mental. And I don't think I understood very much about the mental side, because I was always just like, no, it's just a physical thing. Like I just got to get my mechanics back in sync. That's it, because that's what it would feel like. But I think a lot of times now I realize that you can kind of lead your body mentally, and so if you can kind of get your mind right, so even on the days when your body feels like crap, you can still pitch that way. You can still find ways to get people out.
Yeah.
But then other thing is just like some days it's just not there, and then you just gotta kind of fake it till you make it, and then it might click in like an inning or two later, and all of a sudden your velo's back and the slider's biting really hard, and you can command the ball where you want to. And like I said, and all of a sudden now your sinker's moving, a foot, when a second ago it was just sitting there doing doing an air cutter and going the wrong way. You just never know. But I think a lot of it is learning about the mental side of the game. A lot of the consistency stuff comes from just preparation, getting your body in the right place, and then learning how to take care of it. It's like, if anything was ever bugging me, I didn't really know what to do. It was just like, all right, well, it's bugging me today. There's nothing I can do about it. Now I have a lot more things, physical therapy wise or workout wise or, nutrition wise or any of that kind of stuff that definitely can help me stay consistent.
Yeah,
whether
I
it's
had Giolito
Kevin
on
Smith or
recently,
not, whatever.
and I had Giolito, and he talked about that because he kind of went through a total shift in his career, and he went through an injury and came back, and then wasn't throwing the same, and literally, and he went in depth on this. The biggest thing for him was like changing his mentality, and he went through like a total overhaul one off the off season where he like changed his arm motion completely. He also like
Mhm.
really changed his mindset, and it credits his mentality to a lot of his success and the reason he became an all-star. So I mean, what you said is spot on from talking to him too. um so let's get into this year. Become a big leaguer, throw a no-hitter this year, which I'll get to in a second. But the Detroit Tigers, things feel exciting in Detroit to me. The future is very, very close. You're going to be a big part of that. AJ Hinch is now the manager of this team. And I feel like you guys weren't really expected to compete this year as well as you have. Obviously, it's not going to result in making the playoffs, but a lot of wins are getting put together. And I feel like a big credit to that is what AJ Hinch is doing there in his first year. Talk about having him as a manager and what he's meant to this team, and what he's doing different.
I mean, I give him a lot of credit, honestly. I think he deserves as much credit as you can give a manager for the team doing well. I think he just brings like a different mindset and a different expectation of how to get things done. Kind of just raises the standard of what he expects and how I don't. It's hard to put into words exactly, but just like that winning mindset. Like this is how things are done. This is what it takes to win. If you can't do it, I'll get somebody else who can, kind of thing. And it just raises everybody's standard of performance. I think they either kind of get the job done or they don't. And I think most guys rise to the challenge. Like some guys may struggle or not, but I think a lot of guys it just makes you better because you're forced to be better and there's more competition. And I don't know. I think there's a lot to it with that. And I think just the understanding of each individual player. He doesn't have like a cookie cutter approach for anybody. I think all the coaches he has around him have done a really good job. I just think the whole top to bottom, he's just made some changes where there's just more efficiency. There's not a lot of like just clutter or eyewash. Everything we do has a purpose. Um, Everything we do is to get better, and it's actually what we do things that actually work and actually get better. And anything else we don't worry or waste time about. But the stuff that does work and does matter, we do that, and he makes us do it very well. Um, and like I said, he's worked on getting some better players in, but at the same time, a lot of our players always had potential. Just we weren't all playing to that potential, and I think
Yeah.
a lot of that kind of just breeds confidence in everybody. And when the talent you have is there but not playing to its abilities, if you find somebody who can come in and help get everybody closer to their abilities and have the confidence and the mindsets and the mental game, and all that feeds off each other. Like hitting is contagious, winning
Yeah.
is contagious, and baseball is such a mental game that said you get a few guys buying in, everybody else starts to buy in. And like I said, and then if there's a weak link somewhere or somewhere in the chain, something's not good enough. Like yeah, things might change. It might get new personnel in or whatever. But for the most part, I think we had really good players before, and we still have really good players. And
Yeah.
I think injuries have a lot to do with things. You can't control that, but um, yeah, I mean in spring training, the whole team was rolling really well, and we kind of went through a dry spell, and then I don't know, they just started putting together wins. And I said I haven't been there for half of that, so it's kind of been a bummer to miss out on it. But I said there's nothing I can do with my robot on right now. But like I said, has been really cool to watch, and I'm excited to get back.
Yeah, I feel like there's never obviously a good time to go through Tommy John, but I feel like the future in Detroit is getting closer and closer. And from the outside, I can feel it. And you're going to be a big part of that future, and you're going to be back and a part of that rotation that's going to be very exciting. And then it feels like the young guys on offense are coming. Like, do you get that feeling being a part of the team? Like, can you feel it? Like the future is near, and in a year, 2 years, we're going to be winning a lot of ball games and being a really good team.
I mean, I definitely feel it. I think the fans can feel it too. I've been able to watch a few of the games since I've been down, and like I said, the fans have been coming back. The excitement's back.
Yeah.
Miggy hitting his 500th homer last night was really cool. Or yesterday, whenever that was. Um, I think just there's just much more excitement. There's much more anticipation, expectations, and like I said, and they're winning. So it's not. I don't just. I think winning just helps out with a lot
Yeah.
of things. So
Yeah.
I feel like the future is definitely coming faster than people expected, and I'm excited about it. Like I said, I want to be a part of it.
I agree. You mentioned Miggy. I mean, what an incredible, obviously, accomplishment. The 28th player in history to hit 500 home runs. And you know this far better than I do, but even just being around him for a short period of time and being in the dugout with him is so fun. He just makes the game fun, and he has so much fun doing it. Talk a little bit about his 500th home run and just how fun it is being a teammate of his.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it was it 28 other guys have ever hit 500. So I mean, we already knew he
Yeah,
was a sure Hall of Famer before, but it's just one more milestone that just puts him there. Being able to be a teammate with somebody who's accomplished so many great things is really cool. Like I said, he's just his whole career, his talent level has just been head and shoulders above everybody else, and like I said, he's been able to put together such a cool career. So that's awesome, being able to just be in that, just be around someone like that. But also
yeah.
his personality, he's so fun. He's really just like silly, to be honest. Like he's never not making jokes or having fun. Like every once in a while he'll have a few bad games in a row and he'll be a little upset about it, but it doesn't last for long at all. And even in his quote unquote struggles or whatever, he's still having fun. It's almost just like it's almost like he's bigger than the game, to be honest. Like it's like he's never really that stressed about it. Like you'll
Yeah.
watch a lot of guys, especially young guys or whatever, when they're struggling or if they're doing well, they'll get real high and they'll get real low.
Right.
And with Miggy, it's never really, you don't really see that. He's having fun. He's always cracking jokes on the field, in the dugout, chirping at the umpires, but it's Miggy, so no one really cares. So I think the whole persona and everything, I think is really um, it just kind of shows who he is, and like in a good way. And like I said, he's just a kid, almost
Do
40 years
you
older.
I
However, he's
always
still just
I always remember with you in the outfield. It didn't matter who it was. You always felt like you were one of the best hitters on the field. And at this point you hadn't hit in years, but I can't tell you how many times you'd come up to me and be like, "Ben, right? Like get you this is what you got to do. You got to get into this slot and like do this and this." So, how often have you gone up to Miggy trying to give him hitting tips? And if you haven't, why not?
I don't know if I've given Miggy any tips. I was probably too intimidated to
That's
start up then.
surprising.
And then after my few at bats in the big leagues, embarrassing myself, it's just like, okay, I probably just need to shut my mouth. But no, I feel like growing up, I was a really good hitter. I was a better hitter than I was a pitcher in high school, and then went to Alabama and was trying to be a two-way guy and was throwing 96 freshman year, and they said you're never touching the bat again. And I said okay. And I never really got that chance to fail, so I think that chip on my shoulder never really came off.
Never
But
really went away. I can't tell you how many locker
yeah,
room conversations I've been a part of where somebody said, freaking Turnbull coming up to me while I'm 0 for 20 trying to tell me how to hit, and he doesn't even know what he's doing. I've had a million of those conversations.
I mean, yeah, I mean, well, ask them now if they think any of my advice is actually wrong, and we'll see where that conversation goes. But coming from me, maybe not the best person to be giving it to him, but I don't think I ever gave bad advice on how to swing.
Yeah, I
Not
actually
how to
looking
hit.
back, I agree with you. So this year you become one of, it's part of history, not just because you threw a no hitter, but now it's going to be, and it's really, really slowed down. It looked like the record was going to be shattered, but this is now the season with the most no hitters in history. I believe we're at 8, and you're now forever a part of that. You threw a no hitter against the Mariners. It was honestly incredible. And full disclosure, when I watched the last like 5, 6 innings of it and got emotional when it finished, just because I mean, it was really cool, man. And I consider you a good friend of mine. So it was awesome to see. Just walk me through that day, man. Like how incredible from start to finish was that day for you?
I mean, that day was just one of the best days of my life, honestly. Like I said, even before the game, like I said, uh, my girlfriend was there and we just kind of walked around Seattle and saw some cool sights. I've always wanted to go to Seattle. So just the morning of kind of just visiting a couple cool spots, coffee shops, whatever. And just take it in. That was really fun. Had a good lunch. It was just super chill. It was like not worried about the game at all, to be honest. Get to the stadium, like just another night, and really awesome stadium. Like I've been wanting to pitch there for a couple of years. I missed it in 2019 when we went because I was hurt, so I was bummed about that. And yeah, so I was just really excited to pitch there. And I don't know, getting closer to game time, I started to get a little nervous. I was like, my body doesn't feel that great, I was like trying to get through my warm ups, and just wasn't feeling like all that, uh, I don't know, connected to my body or whatever. And a little worried about it. And then went through my warm ups in the bullpen and felt terrible. Like my did not have anything, couldn't put anything on the ball. Like this is gonna suck tonight, but whatever. Yeah. And I told Hasi when he was catching the bullpen, I was like, "Hey man, I got nothing right now, so we're going to just
Wow.
really work on getting the ball over the plate, and we'll see where we go from there. Just get ahead, get strike one, because I didn't feel like I was going to strike anybody. I did not feel like I had my swinging and stuff at all. I was like, all right, my stuff is flat, feel terrible, don't know what's wrong, but hopefully if I just get through a couple of innings, it'll kind of click." And get out there in that first inning, and didn't feel great with my stuff, but my four seamer felt like it had a little bit more on it than I thought it would, and just kind of pitched with that. And I was like, okay, because whatever it was, my mechanics were just really off. Texted my friend before the game, was like, dude, pray for me because this is gonna be a bad night. And he
No
did. Like, you'll be fine.
way.
Like, yeah, I was like, yeah, you'll be fine, dude. And he sent me some other stuff that was kind of eerie. Some of the things he said, something about being like a kind of like a I don't even know, kind of like announced that night. I was like, what? And then ended up throwing a no hitter, so it was kind of crazy. But yeah, I was just really nervous. Did not feel good, and get through that first inning was like a couple. Had a fly ball on the right, was hit pretty hard, and then got through that. I was like, all right, I feel okay. Like I feel I'll be able to get through 6 innings. I'll be fine. So I don't need to strike it right out. Just get some weak contact, get through the game, just keep my pitch count down, be all right. So I don't know if that mindset really helped me because I don't normally pitch with that mindset or whatever.
Never
So,
your mindset. Keep my pitch count
yeah,
down. I'll be all right. Are you kidding me?
yeah, but I was just honestly just super focused on keeping my pitch count down, getting ahead, and not worrying about what happened. And people have been telling me to do that for forever, but usually when your stuff feels good, you're not really, you think that, but you're also like really aggressive. You're trying to get guys out by getting them to miss, and I don't know, just was not feeling that, and guys were missing anyway. And kind of next couple of innings, stuff started to click in a little bit better, started to feel a little nastier, and but just made sure to stay in that mindset. And by about the fifth inning, I was like, I knew what was going on. Obviously, I'm like, all right, let's just keep going, see what we can do. And I just never, no part of me felt like I was like in control of that. So I wasn't like, didn't feel like I was the one making a no hitter happen. So I wasn't like worried if I effed it up. I was like, I'm not really worried about it. So like I said, I didn't feel like it was like me in control of it anyway. So like if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. And I'll let God take care of that. And I was like, all right, let's just go out and keep making pitches. They keep hitting them right at people, not worried about it. And like I said, there are a couple loud contact hit right at people. I was like, all right, maybe it's my night, and just had faith that it was, and just rolled through it, and was able to get through it. And
Jeez.
that ninth inning was tougher.
Were
That
you
one felt
okay
like
going into that ninth inning?
I was okay, but it was a little bit more like it was more on my shoulders. But I was like, okay, do not let those thoughts get in your head. You just got to keep that completely out there. Don't worry about messing it up. Don't worry. Like you can't think that. Just go out there, the exact same mentality. You're going to go throw strike one, throw strike two, and if they hit it at somebody, awesome. If they get a hit, awesome. But you're not going to go out there and be scared to give up a hit. And I just did not let that fear into my brain at all. Like there's a couple times I had some thoughts hit, and I was like, no, we're not thinking that. And I just went out there and just kept pitching. That ninth inning felt a little different. So I think I walked the first guy, and I was like, all right, well, doesn't matter. Still not a hit. So, and then I almost got a double play. I struck the next guy out, and then I almost got a double play. And then when I realized the double play didn't get turned, got beat it out, and I was like, oh shoot, now I still got to face Haniger. I was like, you know what, good, because like I felt like I needed to face him one more time anyway. This was the best hitter at the time. I don't know, just part of it kind of felt like I can't throw no hitter and not have to face their best hitter to finish it off. And but I was like, I am not going to be afraid of him. If he gets me this time, he gets me, because he'd already hit me hard twice. And I was like, and I think I struck him out once earlier, but he hit a laser candy that Kenny made a fantastic play on at third. I think he hit a deep ball to center as well. But yeah, just that last sequence to him was just 1, 2, 3. It was like
Yeah.
sinker down for a strike, slider away, swing and miss, and then I just threw my four seamer as hard as I could, put a little cut on it, swung
It
through
was
it, and
so
I was like,
awesome, man.
that was it.
I texted you. I texted you right after, and a funny thing I realized in our text conversation, you had fairly recently come off the COVID IL, and our last text before I congratulated you was, "Hey man, how you feeling?" And you said, not really that great. I don't have my strength back. Like I'm not there yet. I don't feel great. Hopefully soon." And then you go out and throw a no hitter, which is pretty poetic and awesome. Spencer, thank you so much for joining me, man. Best of luck with your recovery. I can't wait to see you back there. The future of Detroit is near, and you're going to be a part of that. And I can't wait to watch you win with that team. And I really, really appreciate you coming on. And we'll bring you back on when you're back and healthy and winning playoff games with the Tigers.
Thanks for having me, Ben. It's been fun.
Of course, man. See ya.